For centuries, the Book of Enoch was considered lost, discarded from the biblical canon, buried in obscurity. But now it's back, and what it reveals is shaking foundations, describing fallen angels, forbidden knowledge, and a pre-flood race of hybrid giants called the Nephilim. Enoch's narrative clashes with traditional doctrine. It portrays a cosmic rebellion and a hidden history of humanity's origins, one that institutions, including the Vatican, never officially embraced. With the book's rediscovery through the Dead Sea Scrolls and its viral spread online, some now claim the Vatican is in panic, not from heresy, but from truth resurfacing. The hidden book reemerges. It begins with a name, Enoch, a figure almost forgotten, barely mentioned in the Bible, only once in Genesis 5:24. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. No further detail, no explanation, and then silence. But centuries later, a book bearing his name reemerges, a strange celestial text known as the Book of Enoch. Once popular among Second Temple Jews and early Christians, it was quoted, studied, and revered. Wikipedia. Yet by the 4th century CE, it had vanished from mainstream canons, cast aside, declared pseudepigraphal, suppressed, not officially banned, but quietly dropped. Today, fragments of the Book of Enoch have been found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, specifically scrolls 4Q201 to 4Q212, confirming that it was once widely read. These discoveries, pulled from the caves of Qumran, shift Enoch from speculation to historical fact. Wikipedia. Now the book surges back into modern awareness via podcasts, viral YouTube and documentaries, Reddit threads, even whispered claims of a Vatican cover-up. The suggestion: this book doesn't just challenge religious orthodoxy, it threatens to rewrite it. Some say its content was never forgotten, just hidden. But what's actually inside this ancient text? The Book of Enoch isn't just mystical, it's radical. And what it says about angels, judgment, and forbidden knowledge has shocked readers for centuries. What the book actually says. At its core lies a celestial rebellion. The Book of the Watchers, the first and most famous section of the Enoch, describes 200 angels called Watchers, descending from heaven to earth, their mission to observe. But instead they interfere. They teach humanity forbidden arts, metallurgy, cosmetics, astrology, skills never meant to be known so soon. Wikipedia. Worse still, they take human wives. From these unions come the Nephilim, giant hybrids, part divine, part mortal, who fill the earth with violence and terror. The flood of Genesis. In Enoch, it's not just about human wickedness. It's divine retaliation against corrupted creation. The narrative then ascends. Enoch, chosen by God, is taken into heaven. He sees layers of the cosmos, judgment halls, angelic councils, and a son of man, a pre-messianic figure enthroned before creation. His vision reshapes the universe. Multiple heavens, divine hierarchies, and an afterlife structured with layered reward and punishment. These aren't ideas found in the Torah or early Hebrew scripture. They're apocalyptic, cosmological, and deeply unsettling. They suggest divine beings once mingled with humans, that knowledge was given and taken, and that human history is part of something far bigger than theology admits. So why was this extraordinary text excluded? Why did such a vivid, detailed vision of heaven and angels disappear from the religious mainstream? The answer lies in history and in theological discomfort. Why it was excluded from the canon. The Book of Enoch was never part of the Hebrew Tanakh. Rabbinic tradition in the 2nd century CE regarded pseudepigraphical texts with caution, especially those that blurred divine and human boundaries. The content of Enoch, giants, angelic sin, heavenly realms, was simply too exotic. Wikipedia. For early Christians, it fared better, quoted even in the New Testament Epistle of Jude, verse 14 to 15. But by the 4th century, at councils like Laodicea, circa 364 CE, it was dropped. Theological reasons included Enoch's angelology, conflicting chronologies, and prophetic visions that didn't align with evolving Orthodoxy Life and Hope Church. The Catholic Church, over time, treated it as non-canonical, useful for study, perhaps, but open to error. Its uncertain authorship, composite structure, written over centuries in multiple languages, and mystical content made it an outlier. The final blow? It didn't support clear dogma. It raised more questions than answers. So the exclusion wasn't a single act of censorship. It was a slow evaporation. As doctrine solidified, Enoch's strange cosmos was simply left behind. Not because it was disproven, but because it was too dangerous to include. And yet, silence breeds curiosity. In modern times, the book returns, not as scripture, but as controversy. And some believe its very rediscovery has shaken the walls of powerful institutions. The Vatican's reaction. Officially, there is no Vatican edict banning the Book of Enoch. The Catholic Church acknowledges it exists, has long studied it as part of historical theology, and has explicitly stated it is not canonical. It does not appear in the Catholic Bible, nor in most Protestant versions. And yet, there's a persistent belief among the public, especially online, that the Vatican is hiding something. What fuels this claim? Not documented censorship, but the silence. When rare ancient texts resurface, like those from the Dead Sea Scrolls, 4Q201 to 4Q212, and institutions say little, conspiracy theorists fill the vacuum. Wikipedia. In an age of open access where digital archives and translations are freely available, many expect institutions to respond quickly, transparently. When they don't, it looks like panic. Even if it's just tradition moving slowly. The real concern lies in the content. Themes of angelic rebellion, forbidden knowledge, and the Nephilim suggest a cosmology much darker and stranger than accepted doctrine. These narratives challenge the clean divisions of heaven and earth, good and evil. They raise the possibility that not all angels obeyed, and not all secrets were divine. This is why some believe the Church would prefer this book stay forgotten. Not because it proves heresy, but because it disrupts order. The panic, then, is not institutional collapse. It's reputational management. When truth becomes viral, containment is impossible. But to understand why the book still holds power, we must ask, what does it actually reveal? Not just about angels, but about the very origin of knowledge, civilization, and judgment. Why the truth it reveals matters. If the Book of Enoch is even partially true, it reframes human history. It implies that civilization's progress, metallurgy, architecture, astrology, was not a divine gift, nor a human invention, but the result of a cosmic betrayal. The Watchers meant to observe instead intervened, granting knowledge that accelerated humanity's development. But this wasn't progress as blessing, it came with consequences. The birth of the Nephilim, beings too powerful, too violent, to coexist with humans. The flood story, often read as divine punishment for sin, takes on new meaning. In Enoch, it's a containment strategy, a global reset to wipe away celestial contamination. More provocative still is the Son of Man figure, a messianic archetype enthroned before creation. This concept appears centuries before Christian texts and raises unsettling questions about influence. Did the writers of the New Testament borrow ideas from Enoch? Did early Christology emerge not from prophecy alone, but from a rejected text? Wikipedia. Enoch challenges the origin of ethics. If forbidden knowledge, technology, weaponry, cosmetics came from fallen angels, what does that mean for our modern tools? Are we still using gifts from cosmic rebels? This is why the book resonates today. It isn't just mythology, it's a mirror held up to the roots of belief. As these implications grow louder, more people dig deeper. The surge of interest isn't just academic, it's cultural, and much of it stems from one moment, the rediscovery of Enoch's fragments. The rediscovery moment. The turning point came in the mid-20th century when fragments of the Book of Enoch were discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls at Qumran, in Scrolls Wabestirian 4Q201 to 4Q212. Until then, scholars had long debated whether the text had any standing in Second Temple Judaism. These scrolls ended that debate. The book had not only circulated, it had been copied, preserved, and likely studied by Jewish sects like the Essenes Wikipedia. This rediscovery confirmed what a few early church writers, like Tertullian and Origen, had already hinted at in the 2nd and 3rd centuries CE, that Enoch had once held a respected place in religious thought. Tertullian even defended its validity, suggesting it had been rejected not because it was false, but because it was too challenging. In modern times, this has sparked renewed curiosity. Academic translations by scholars like R.H. Charles and James Vanderkam made Enoch accessible, but more recently, popular platforms have taken over. YouTube exposés, Reddit threads, even discussions on Joe Rogan's podcast. Suddenly, a text once known to monks and professors is available to anyone with a Wi-Fi signal. That shift matters. When access increases, control decreases. Institutions that once defined what was canonical are now being bypassed. That's why some describe this moment as a spiritual rediscovery, but also a threat if theology can be rewritten with a scroll fragment. What else might lie in wait? And that brings us to a darker question. Was Enoch left out of canon for theological reasons alone? Or was there something more deliberate at play? Something about control, power, and hidden knowledge? The hidden agenda? On the surface, the exclusion of the Book of Enoch appears to be theological. Its content too strange, its visions too vast. But for some scholars and critics, that explanation feels incomplete. They argue there was also a political dimension. Knowledge is power, and what gets canonized shapes what a civilization believes. Enoch presents a cosmology where divine beings break ranks, where humans receive technological knowledge not from God, but from rebel angels. This undermines central claims of institutional religion, that wisdom comes through prophecy, divine law, or Messiah, not through alien-like beings who defy heaven. The book suggests a chaotic spiritual realm with fractures among angels and layers of heaven unknown to Scripture. This directly challenges religious hierarchies. If angels can fall and teach, what stops institutions from doing the same? If divine order is imperfect, who grants the right to interpret it? For some, this made Enoch not just unorthodox, but dangerous. Hence the theory, its omission wasn't just caution, it was curation. A deliberate narrowing of belief to maintain stability, clarity, control. The Vatican's silence then may not be panic, but a boundary, a line drawn to keep the divine story manageable. But if it was excluded for power as well as theology, then the next question is why now? Why has Enoch returned to public consciousness after nearly 2 millennia in the shadows? Why the resurgence? The revival of interest in Enoch isn't happening in a vacuum. It coincides with a moment of profound cultural re-examination. In an age of digital transparency, institutional skepticism, and spiritual burnout, lost texts have become symbols, not just of knowledge, but of resistance. Today, rare manuscripts are digitized, shared, and translated across platforms. The once elite world of biblical scholarship is now crowdsourced. Anyone can download the Book of Enoch. Anyone can compare it to Scripture, and many do. Podcast empires, YouTube channels with millions of views, Reddit deep dives, all feed a growing appetite for spiritual alternatives. But it's not just about access, it's about context. Interest in ancient aliens, forbidden archaeology, and non-canonical texts is surging. The Nephilim, the Watchers, the Son of Man figure, these are now discussed alongside UFOs, lost civilizations, and esoteric science. Enoch is no longer just apocalyptic, it's conspiratorial, mythic, cinematic. Even academia is changing. Scholars increasingly revisit Second Temple literature, recognizing that the boundaries between canon and apocrypha were once fluid. Enoch, once a fringe curiosity, now features in symposia, dissertations, and theological debates. The timing matters. As people question institutions, they seek stories once kept away from them. And in the cracks of collapsing consensus, Enoch rises. But rediscovery comes with risk. When a text like Enoch re-enters public life, it brings not just insight, but confusion, distortion, and instability. What happens when its influence is misunderstood or misused? Risks and consequences. The return of Enoch carries more than curiosity, it carries weight. When a once suppressed text resurfaces, it can illuminate history or fracture it. For some, Enoch is sacred insight. For others, it's a gateway to confusion. Accepting Enoch uncritically risks blurring the lines between canonical theology and speculative mythology. Its visions, giants, fallen angels, multi-tiered heavens, don't fit neatly within Jewish, Catholic, or Protestant traditions. Mixing it with Scripture risks warping doctrine. Who is the true Son of Man? What is sin if angels are part of human history? What is salvation if hybrid beings once walked the earth? On the fringes, Enoch has been weaponized. Ancient alien theorists use it as evidence for extraterrestrial intervention. Conspiracy channels link the watchers to technological secrets, hidden bloodlines, even global control networks. For many, it's no longer theology, it's pseudo-history, used to justify anti-institutional rage. Religious institutions face backlash. They hid this from us, critics say. What else have they hidden? Trust erodes. Doctrine destabilizes, belief becomes fragmented. Faith without foundation. And yet, despite these risks, Enoch offers something rare. A portal into early spiritual imagination. A glimpse of how ancient minds understood the universe. Layered, chaotic, alive with mystery. So where does that leave us? Between danger and discovery, confusion and clarity, Enoch forces a final question. Not about what's in the book, but what it means for the rest of us. What it means for us. The Book of Enoch is more than a recovered manuscript. It's a mirror. It reflects how we treat knowledge, who we trust to hold it, and how we respond when it resurfaces. For believers, Enoch offers an unsettling opportunity. Its themes clash with doctrine, yet deepen the spiritual imagination. Studying it doesn't require accepting it, but ignoring it outright may mean missing a vital piece of early theology, the Watchers, the Nephilim, the Son of Man. These are ideas that echo in Scripture, even if the source was forgotten. For seekers, the book is a challenge. It invites questions about divine order, cosmic hierarchy, and hidden truths. But those questions must be asked with care. Not every ancient mystery is a conspiracy. Not every excluded book was silenced for sinister reasons. And for institutions, Enoch's return is a test. In the face of growing curiosity, silence feels like evasion. People don't want control, they want clarity. And in this digital age, revelation can't be postponed. So we're left with a story once buried, now burning with relevance. Whether you accept Enoch's visions or not, one truth remains. When knowledge is hidden, its return carries weight. And we should ask, what else might still be hidden?